I just always wanted attention.
Yep.
You do?
I'm just programmed genetically to be an attention.
Does that mean narcissism?
It's Sophia Franklin. You are listening to Sophia with an F, hey, Sloots. And the F is for phenomenal.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Sophia with an F. I'm recording from WTF. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And I am here with my dad's dream, my dream, Steve-O from Jackass and everywhere else. Steve-O, I am at a loss for words. Well, not really, because I've been talking this whole time. But thank you so much for coming.
Well, thank you for having me.
How are you feeling right now?
I feel a little bit overwhelmed. A little bit just overly busy.
Yeah.
Feeling a little bit eager to, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but take a break.
You're like, get out of this recording.
I pride myself on being very active, very busy.
Right.
You know, I have a color-coded calendar, which I love it.
Did you come up with the colors?
I did.
Okay. No, I'm genuinely invested and interested in this because I've been trying to do that.
Uh-huh.
How do you pick the colors?
Like post-production is red. Actually recording is white. Stuff that's kind of administrative, pain in the ass stuff is blue.
Okay.
Press and travel is gray.
Interesting.
Fun is orange.
Interesting.
Self-care is yellow.
Wait, my self-care is yellow.
Good.
Interesting.
Recovery-related stuff is pink.
Okay, so you have a lot of color coding going on.
Yeah.
You're organized as fuck.
It's a good-looking calendar.
It sounds gorgeous. Do you think that, well, let me back up. You're feeling a little bit overwhelmed. How much does sobriety, which congratulations.
Thank you.
How much does sobriety help with feelings of like overwhelm?
Despite being in a really wonderful position in life, my life is fantastic. I'm very fortunate in just about every measurable way. Yet I can find a way to be dissatisfied, discontent, and frankly unhappy. I'm laughing because I think about this all the time. People tell me, be grateful, look at where you are. I mean, I'm happy-ish. Not really. Why? Well, I'm
not sober. That's number one.
I think that what it is whatever our circumstance is, we become accustomed to it. And it's our nature to crave to improve our circumstances.
Right.
Like if we're in pain, we crave for the pain to lessen or subside. If we're experiencing pleasure, we want it to intensify and last longer. No matter what our situation is, we're built to not be happy with it and want it to be better. Mm-hmm. That's the source of all human suffering, is this craving.
Is to always want more.
Yep.
It's never here.
Correct. No matter how much you earn, never enough.
Never.
Money actually doesn't satisfy us. It creates a vacuum.
Interesting.
Where the more we have, the more we need.
But like at a certain level, right? Like at survival mode, money will,
Sure. Yeah, they say that it's like $60,000 a year that meets people's needs, and then beyond that, money doesn't really contribute to happiness anymore.
Yeah.
And that makes sense to me. I also heard about people who have more than $10 million all identifying as feeling financially insecure. Like the more money you have, the more you feel financially insecure.
That makes me feel better because I'm not in that $10 million range, and the comparison game is real. The working all the time, always wanting more. Do you think that's a human nature thing, or do you think it's a very United States thing?
I think it is a human nature thing, and I think that it is even more exacerbated in the United States.
And how do you think sobriety has helped? Not that I think people think sobriety is everything is 100% better. It's not. Like, you still have life.
Sure.
It's just 10 times better, right?
Sobriety does not make you immune to the challenges that life presents.
Right.
It helps you be better equipped to navigate, to overcome the challenges. Like, for me, to be drinking alcohol and taking drugs and acting out sexually rampantly, like, the amount of time that required, the amount of time, energy, resources, and all of it, so that I could be making terrible mistakes, creating wreckage, accumulating shame and guilt.
Mm-hmm.
And then now for a pretty darn long time, I've had none of those distractions.
Yeah.
It's immeasurable how much better life is without constantly perpetrating behavior that brings about shame.
Wow. That's a really good way to put it. Because there's so much shame surrounding it. Even if I drink too much and I don't do anything stupid, there's still shame because I know alcohol is not good for me. I know what a certain amount of alcohol is good, which none of it is good, but you know what I mean?
I've heard studies indicated that drinking 1 glass of wine per day is actually healthy for you.
That study, I feel like it's been debunked.
Oh,
Has
okay.
it?
I don't know.
I think so. There's you can tell. It's like it's a total toxin, but I think for me, you're saying once you're sober, when you get sober, it's easier because you don't have to deal with all these things, shame, regret, etc.
I mean, sure, you have to deal with them to the extent that they present in your life, but they present a lot less.
I feel like you have to deal with them once you get sober in a more real way because you don't have alcohol, drugs to numb it.
Right.
And that's why people tend to go back to alcohol or they don't get sober. And when I say people, I'm talking about myself, but I'm trying to talk about other people because I'm not. You know what I mean? It's like you have to really sit there with your feelings and the shame and the guilt, and you can't, get drunk that night and forget about it.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely becomes a vicious cycle where your behavior brings about the shame, and then you feel bad, and so then you gotta drink to soothe yourself, and then while you're drinking, and then that leads to more behavior that brings about more shame, and so it's just a big vicious cycle.
Right. Do people always ask you the same questions, like, how is sobriety? How is life now? Why were you so out of control? You're like, let's
I mean, a little bit, and I think that whatever my answer is at the time is a bit of a moving target.
I like that. That was a great response. I love that.
Yeah.
I obviously was looking into you and doing my research, which how much you can research a human being online is bullshit. I don't know you. But I kept seeing this like commonality with you saying, I just always wanted attention.
Yep.
That was like the common theme.
Uh-huh.
Do you stand by that?
Yeah.
You do?
I believe that it's really in my DNA.
Okay.
I'm just programmed genetically to be an attention whore.
Does that mean narcissism? Maybe?
I'm sure that there are bits of narcissism in there.
I asked that because I just did an episode where I talked about to be an influencer or a kind of celebrity in this day and age, you have to be. Like, you have to have major elements of what we call narcissism.
Yeah. I think I think that the human ego has narcissistic traits. I mean, just the idea of self-preservation and self-importance is kind of key to survival. To be clinically narcissistic, I would imagine, takes that to a level that goes beyond what it takes to be an influencer.
Right.
But yeah,
I actually love that response.
here's something. When I went to rehab and got sober, there was a lot of emphasis put on having a higher power, believing in a higher power, and deflating the ego, and practicing spiritual principles. And like how that was supposed to jive with being Steve-O from Jackass was something that I really wasn't sure about. So I didn't know if I was going to really commit to life in recovery, if I could even continue pursuing a career in entertainment. And ultimately, I did learn that I can.
Well, your tour, the bucket list.
Yeah.
I heard it's crazier and more insane than Jackass. I don't know how that's possible. Objectively.
Objectively, yeah.
And totally sober, which is insane.
Yeah.
Like, how are you able to do that?
In order to make it crazier than Jackass, I mean, there's just certain things.
I mean, crazier is... Actually, that's a great question.
Objectively... Jackass being produced by Paramount Pictures, it's like a very, very official corporate operation, and as such has to abide by like very certain distinct guidelines. Rules. Right. You know, like you can't break the law.
Yeah,
filming
like you
Jackass.
Can't pee on a bunch of potato chips. I was looking.
Yeah, I love it. I'm sure we could pee on potato chips if we wanted.
Can I ask what were they? Lay's, Pringles?
I don't remember. I remember that happened on Lollapalooza tour. I was technically arrested for public urination while peeing on potato chips.
But you don't remember the brand of the potato chip?
I don't remember the brand.
Damn, that's a sponsorship right there. Let's make one up. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But yeah, so we can't break the law filming Jackass, and I flagrantly broke the law while filming the bucket list.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's completely okay because you produced it on your own, not with a big corporation.
Yeah, I mean, I did it without any form of insurance. I did it with, I was the boss.
Okay. So shit's fucking crazy.
Yeah, shit's crazy, yeah.
That hesitation.
I had medical professionals
on standby.
Well, I had medical professionals steal drugs from the hospital.
Okay.
And then administer them to me like during stunts. Like I had general anesthesia drugs administered in an IV in my arm while I was riding a bicycle through a field. And you just can't do that for Jackass. So objectively, that's crazier than Jackass. If you've ever heard of an epidural, I've
heard of it.
Yeah, they put a 4-inch needle in your spine and inject a drug in your spinal cavity to render you paralyzed.
You're telling me you got that done?
Yeah. They injected the drug in my spinal cavity, yanked out the needle, and then I took off running to see how far I could make it. And then once I was down, my buddies conducted a series of really horrific experiments to determine the extent to which I was paralyzed.
Like rubbing your wiener?
No, zapping me with tasers and lighting my feet on fire.
Oh, okay. A little more intense.
Yeah, it was awesome.
How did the epidural feel?
Terrified me.
But you felt fucking everything.
It was absolutely terrifying because I was told that it paralyzes the lower half of your body from the waist down.
Right.
And I was told to be very, very concerned if I became paralyzed above the waist. And almost as soon as I was down on the ground, I couldn't feel my chest. And so I felt that my respiratory system was shutting down, and that here I was like unable to breathe, and I was going to die right there on the ground.
Okay. So
I couldn't even feel any indication that I was able to breathe. And
so this whole neck down, just
my
paralyzed.
arms worked, but I just couldn't feel
the chest area.
my whole, I couldn't feel anything. And for me to breathe, it felt like I really was having trouble breathing, and like I had to fight to even breathe in enough air to be able to say I'm having trouble breathing. And so yeah, it was the most terrified that I've been
ever in your career.
Perhaps, yeah, certainly in years and years.
So what did they do at that point? EpiPen, and then you went running as fast as possible?
It wasn't EpiPen.
I don't even know what an EpiPen is.
The medical professional had me like hooked up to. I had like the cuff that you inflate, and I had little things taking readings.
Okay.
And the medical professional wasn't ever terribly concerned. Of course, he was a pretty weird guy.
I'm like, wait.
It's a very weird dude.
What kind of medical professional is like, you know what? Yeah. Fuck my license. Let's go on tour with Steve-O. Actually, I fucking would.
It wasn't on tour with Steve-O. This only happened one time.
Oh, okay. Okay, got it.
It only happened one time, and that was how all of the bucket list items were. They were all filmed, and then I put them together into a live comedy show. And after each bit, I would screen the footage.
Incredible. So that was, how many stunts have you had? Well, actually, that's a stupid question because you're going to say a million. What do you, like, are you scared of death? How about that question? The hesitation, by the way, is incredible. I like that.
I think that it would be, like it's not possible for me to defy human nature.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I'm confronted with a lot. And our existence, the human experience, is a very impossible, frustrating, really like prank on us, the way I see it. We have one instinct, which is to survive, and one guarantee, which is we won't survive. So every fiber of our being like cries out for survival.
Right.
Yeah, consciously we're well aware that we're not going to survive.
Constantly.
So this catch-22 that we're in, it's like our human experience is a terrible predicament.
It is. It is.
You know, like if you think about it. So the reason I paused when you asked me if I'm afraid of death, I mean, it would go against my human nature to not be afraid of death.
I am genuinely excited to discuss Curology because let's face it, if you're not feeling confident about your skin, that shit carries over into every single thing you do. And I've been there and it's not fun. My skin is okay right now. It's doing fine. But it could be so much better. And I cannot wait to see what it will look like in a few months from now with Curology. I really cannot wait. Curology makes personalized prescription skincare products. Curology will set you up with a licensed dermatology provider who will then prescribe you a personalized formula that addresses your specific skin concerns and skincare goals. And it's super easy, because if it wasn't easy, I would not be doing it. Just fill out a quiz about your skin, share photos, and after a consultation, your provider will prescribe a formula that was made just for you. And it gets shipped directly to your door. Curology uses custom formulas consisting of 3 clinically researched ingredients, making it more effective than non-prescription cleansers and moisturizers alone. Now, get up to 6 skincare products free, up to a $52 value with free shipping and a no-cost consultation with a licensed dermatology provider when you go to Curology.com/Sofia. Go to Curology.com/Sofia Curology.com/Sophia for this free offer. That's Curology.com/SOFIA. Prescription products are excluded from free product offer. Applies only to your first box, subject to consultation. New subscribers only. See Curology.com for full details.
And I've never said this before because what I've always said is that I see that our purpose in the human experience is to find some way to wrap our head around our mortality. You know, like people, they find religion because religion promises an afterlife, everything's going to be great.
Right.
People have children, they reproduce to have a lineage, like a legacy, then they're still alive because they have children. And then there's people who want to leave a legacy, like with art or even just with affecting change in the world while they're alive.
Right.
I've never been really into the idea of religion. I'm just like
Same.
never been in love with organized religion. But with that said, I think faith is really important. Faith doesn't have to have anything to do with religion either.
It nurtures the soul in a way that, because it gives you that idea, right, of the afterlife, which I think is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, I watch videos on YouTube where people who had near-death experiences, they relate what it was like to die and be on the other side of death before they came back. And there's like a society of near-death experience.
I know
people.
exactly what you're talking about, by the way.
Yeah, and all of these accounts are so similar, almost uniform.
Yes.
The life review is what it's called. The saying that when you die, that your life flashes before your eyes. In the life review, you go through your whole life and you have the experience of the people who you affected. So anybody who you like harmed, anybody who you like made feel bad, you're going to have the experience as them in like the most crazy detail.
Okay,
and
I missed that part.
Yeah, without even like time to, like with no time constraint. Like you experience it like on a, like almost, I don't want to say eternal, but on a very magnified level.
Wow.
And all of this stuff, it, number one, indicates that we actually don't die. There is no death. And number two, that there's no separation, really, that the separation between you and I is just an illusion, and there's only one thing, and when we die, we kind of go back to the one thing, and everybody calls it going home.
Going home. I remember that. That was a common thing, too. Yeah. I do not remember the
life review.
I don't remember that part.
Yeah, it's a good, to hear about it. It's a really good motivator for actually treating other people the way that you would like to be treated yourself.
Absolutely.
And you know, like I have done dreadful things in my life. I've been so angry at times. You know, like I've just in frustration. You know, like, and I'm super bummed that I'm gonna have to relive that, you know, and really, really understand. Like it's more than empathy. It's like really experiencing like the harm that I did to other people, and you know that's already done. The ship has sailed, and you know, so now it's like if I can
go back in
just
time.
If I can just not bum people out, and if I can actually moving forward and go out of my way to like just get people stoked, you know, to be cool and do the right thing and be a good guy.
I love that.
It's awesome.
And how exhausting. Well, there's two questions. One is, we've all done harmful things to other people.
Sure.
I think it's the intent behind it that should be kind of analyzed? Like, do you think you were just doing dumbass shit because you were high or whatever?
You make a good point. The intent is important, and like way back before I got clean and sober, like I definitely had developed a capability to be really nasty and try and like harm people's reputations or and really hurt their feelings. And
I like that honesty, by the way.
yeah, that's tough
like
to
that.
deal with. When I did get sober, like my motivation to really put in the work and to commit myself to recovery came from the deep shame and guilt that I had for that nasty behavior. So I turned it to the good.
Yeah.
I don't think that I'm the kind of person that ever wants to make people feel bad. I think I do. Sometimes I'll just get frustrated and angry. I want something to be some way, and
Yeah.
I can be a real nightmare. I can be a real jerk.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
Yeah. It sucks for
know?
you and it sucks for everyone around you.
Yeah.
But how exhausting to always want to, I mean, as being an entertainer, like always be uplifting and funny and da da
Yeah.
da. Do you try as hard though?
I don't. No, I don't. I've always kind of recoiled from like artificial positivity and
Right.
like all like okay, let's be really positive. Like that's not what my content is all about.
Right. That's why I like what you were talking about, like this whole aspect of death. And do you think it was really in sobriety where you had to like, that's the thing is when we have conversations like this, sometimes I think, oh, there's so many people out there that are gonna be like, wackos, what the fuck, like why are they talking about near-death experiences? My dad was in and out of rehab, and I was about to say that's great. It is what it is, but you have to analyze life and look at these things, right? I mean, do you ever feel crazy saying what you say? You're like, bitch, I felt crazy my whole life.
Not too bad. Not too bad. And I think that the whole idea of 12-step recovery, of acknowledging where you did harm and going to make amends, is like super in line with the whole thing.
So you're into the 12-step.
Oh yeah,
and AA.
like yeah. I'm pretty well conditioned at this point to call myself out when I do wrong, when
Right.
I harm people.
What do you think about psychedelics to get sober?
I think it's great if it helps people, but it's a no-fly zone for me.
I like that.
That would be a relapse for me.
Right.
But yeah, if it helps people, that's great.
Yeah. Was there like a specific thing you were addicted to, or just anything? Everything and anything.
I was what we call a trash can. And but with that said, I never did heroin, never smoked crack. That was my limit.
Okay, so I think I smoked crack one time.
I think I tried to, but I did it wrong, so I don't count it.
Same. So we didn't. Thanks, everyone. If you're smoking cocaine mixed with something else, is that crack? Or is it just
if you just put powder cocaine on like a marijuana in a
foil?
pipe, I don't think that. I don't
mixed
think
with a little something else?
No, for it to be crack cocaine, it has to be cooked in a certain way.
So you can't just sprinkle it.
If you're smoking powder cocaine, you're being wasteful, is how I understand it.
But the high was unlike any high I've had just off of snorting cocaine. Therefore, I think it may have been crack. I mean, I didn't cook it, so I don't know.
Yeah, if you didn't cook it.
But I was born in Utah and family Mormon, so I didn't know what was happening.
Yeah, I think you're safe. That does not sound like you smoked crack cocaine.
I guess you being on Jackass and you doing all of these things, you had this kind of personality before drugs and alcohol.
I would describe the same personality all along, yeah.
Okay. Same personality all along.
I mean, the characteristics of my attention seeking and like.
And me trying to call it narcissism, even though I'm not a therapist and I have no idea.
I don't mind a bit. You know, I don't mind a bit. I'm sure that I, particularly at times, check boxes for narcissism.
Of course.
You know,
of course.
And I think that is something that my relationship helps me with a lot.
How long have you been married?
Still not married. I wear an engagement ring.
Okay, I like that.
I've been engaged for a long time. Yeah, it's pretty silly that when a couple gets engaged, only the woman should indicate that she's taken.
That is fucking insane, and thank you for bringing that up.
Right. Is that like society's way of saying that a guy should just carry on, do whatever you want?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No question. That's absolutely what it is.
Yeah, so I believe in wearing an engagement ring.
I love that. And your girlfriend is so lucky, but you're also probably more lucky, if I had to guess.
I'm very, very fortunate. I truly am. And the best thing about my relationship is that my girl she's not here to just say yes to everything.
Yeah.
You know, she straight up calls me out.
Grounds you?
Yeah. She calls me out and tells me what's bullshit, and it's unfortunately frequent that she needs to call me out, and she kind of keeps me.
Do you think that's like all relationships are kind of that yin and yang? Someone's a little crazy, someone's a little. And I know it's 2023, and me saying the word crazy, just use that in your interpretation. I don't want to offend anyone.
I don't think that there's a universal like
dating scenario.
Yeah, I think relationships are very complex, and certain things are healthy in all relationships, but I don't think you can describe what.
Sum it up in a yin yang. Someone's crazy doing stunts, someone's not. What was dating like when you were doing the show?
Oh, I was an absolute disaster. I was a disaster.
Yeah. You never worried about a girl dating you for fame or something? Here and there.
I mean, I never, before the relationship that I'm in now, and we've been together for almost 7 years, I had never made it more than 10 months in a relationship.
Okay.
Yeah, I was an absolute disaster.
Okay.
And it took a lot of work deliberately for me to be even able to be in a relationship, in a healthy relationship.
Right.
Like I got into therapy. I did a lot of work in recovery. And my mantra was that I was working to become the man that the love of my life deserves. And doing that preemptively, acknowledging that I had not yet met the love of my life. I think that most people, that they think that they're waiting to meet the right person, but in fact, nothing's going to work until they become the right person.
Oh, I know for a fact I've never been in love, and I know for a fact it's my fault.
Okay, good.
100%. I need to sort through some issues before I can even get into that place. And I'm 31. It's like I'm a young chicken, you know?
Pretty young.
I mean, for you, young. For women, I might as well be 70. You know what I mean? I think that's what we're dealing with. Steve-O, you have been... I just remember seeing you on the TV, and my dad would always play Jackass, and you are extremely intelligent and extremely real.
Well, thank you.
You answer it. You're not... I like how you said, I'm not here to make things sound happy-go-lucky. Like, I'm here to be real.
Yeah, I have no interest in like pretending that stuff is not the way that it is.
And how much of your day is people pretending that?
My day? Not too much. I surround myself with a pretty small group of people. And I don't think that there's a lot of bullshit floating around my circle.
I just like how real you are about sobriety, because I think sobriety is this incredible thing, and I think there's no right or wrong way to be. I know I would be a much happier person. It's not a end all be all, right? You still have to deal with your shit.
Well, yeah. I mean, life is going to happen. It's going to present difficulties, and it's a lot more manageable if you're not like putting a lot of time and effort into like being in a bad place and making bad decisions.
Right. And feeling bad about it.
Yeah, you got a lot less challenges to deal with if you're not creating problems.
Right.
Like manufacturing problems all the time.
I manufacturing problems all the time. That's a t-shirt. That's like my lifestyle.
That's what it turned into for me. So
right.
Yeah.
You don't do that anymore? A little bit.
I think that I wouldn't say that I manufacture problems all the time now, because that would suggest that like they're real. I think that now my problem is that I imagine problems all the time. I can be consumed with worry and anxiety over problems that don't even exist.
That's, I mean, story of my life.
Right.
Manufacturing and imagining. So how do you get out of that?
Man, that's the $1 million question. I think that
I take an epidural.
For me, managing my anxiety and my fear over things that aren't even necessarily happening comes by just trying to be ferociously productive. Like as long as I'm working and achieving and earning, like I kind of have you don't have
time to dwell.
Right. Like I just always have like the feeling that like, oh my God, I'm not going to be okay. I've got to hurry up. I got to pull something off. I got to earn. I got to achieve.
Right.
And I welcome that in my life, because it drives me to always want to be hustling and working.
Right.
And I like that. I'm very grateful to have that. I even like don't mind if I'm always like anxious, because it's like I choose the hustle.
Yeah.
You know, and beyond that, I think that communicating your feelings with another person, like really honestly, and speaking up about what's bothering you, it takes a lot of power out of that. And so that's like, you know, with my recovery brothers, you know, my sobriety community, like that's what we do. We share honestly about what's bothering us, and that helps us to
move forward.
Going, yeah.
I feel like for men specifically, like you guys, I know from guys I've dated, like it's not cool, or you guys don't even know how sometimes to even talk about your shit.
Right.
Or talk about how you're feeling.
I know. And yeah, we're the lucky ones, us sober nerds.
Sober nerds. I like that. Steve-O, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Talk about where everyone can see these crazy ass, fucking crazier than Jackass stunts.
Yeah. There's one where I actually blow a load on camera. Simultaneously ejaculating as I fall out of an airplane 15,000 feet in the air with another man strapped to my back.
I'm sorry, why didn't you come in with that one?
Well, it's that's part of my bucket list.
Were you on Cialis? Just wondering.
I took 4 of them for breakfast.
Okay. I had to make sure.
Yeah.
With the man strapped to your back.
Yeah.
That's fucking dope.
It was the most challenging stunt, and that is just the level of how I've got epidurals and general anesthesia bike rides and skyjacking in the sky. Like everything on my bucket list is fucking out of control.
Insanity.
Like beyond how crazy Jackass is, and it's the greatest thing I've ever put together. So go to steveo.com to watch the bucket list.
I respect that, because Jackass could never survive now. In 2023,
I disagree.
Really?
I think Jackass ages very well, because there's nothing.
Well, now, but if it was being produced now, you don't think there'd be an uproar and it would get canceled?
We just had a movie come out last year.
Okay, fucking put me in my place, and you are.
I mean, it's easy. It's no big deal. Like, and I just think that There's nothing to cancel about Jackass because there's nothing mean-spirited about it. We give ourselves and each other a very hard time, but we want all of this bad stuff to be happening. We're willing participants.
Right.
We invite it, and there's nothing mean-spirited, directed. There's nothing hateful. There's nothing malicious. There's nothing mean.
That's very true.
Yeah, so I consider Jackass very wholesome, as do I consider my bucket list.
Okay, so we're gonna wholesome is how I will describe it to my children as well.
Good.
When I have a boyfriend, when I have kids, if that ever happens. And you guys know where to find me, Sofia with an F, Franklin with a Y. Steve-O, thank you so much.
Yeah,
You're the
thank
best.
you.